Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Rationalizing Why We're Fans of the Teams We're Fans of. This is We Are the Game. I'm Luke. That's Michael. And we're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. We're going to talk specifically about the Cowboys game against the Panthers this last weekend. Cowboys weren't able to finish things off quite at 30-27, I think was the final score. I always keep getting that one mixed up with ours. But they came close with no cigar, as they say. What tells the story here? It looks really kind of basic, like a lot of the games we've seen so far. Your offense worked well and your defense not so much. Is there more to it than that, or elaborate?
Yeah, I think the story is a number of things. Probably the best place to start off with is the absolute monster that Rico Dowdle is right now. I don't know how long he can possibly keep this up, but you talk about, and I'm going to say this, and I hope to goodness I don't jinx the guy because I really do like Rico Dowdle, is how much does he look like Saquon Barkley of last year? I know that's probably going to offend some people, but right now the dude is putting up a ton of usage. Like he's getting 30 carries. He's putting up 187 yards and he's catching the ball. He's getting in the end zone. He's doing it all. And we ran into him at the wrong time, right? So it was an interesting thing for our defense to go. We just go back and forth from what thing we're terrible at. So the good news is Tedero McMillan did not kill us in the long ball. He just killed us in the short pass in the end zone. He racked up his first 2 touchdown catches of the year. Congrats to him. But so great. We were able to hold off the long pass. And instead, we gave up 216 yards rushing instead. 183 was to Rico Dowdle alone. So it's a real trade-off. It wasn't the quarterback. Bryce can definitely run. It wasn't the quarterback who got us. But, man, did they hit us hard on the running game. And that was shockingly effective to get them red zone to red zone. And then when they got in the red zone, Bryce looked great. Like he handled the red zone just wonderfully. My hat's off to him in getting that done. On the other side, the other part of the ball that I think was really impressive for Carolina was how much their defense held up our running game, which has been a big thing we've leaned on is to stay balanced. Javonte Williams has really not been shut out by anyone yet. He was shut out. We had 31 yards rushing total, 19 rushes. I mean, that's complete shutdown. So that part of the game was shut off. Passing game looked what I would consider to be fairly typical for us right now. George Pickens had another phenomenal game, 168 yards and a touchdown. He was all over getting stuff done. Jake Ferguson. I felt like they did a great job overall of covering Jake. Enough to where he only had 3 targets, and he's one of Dak's favorite targets. And he did pick up a touchdown. I didn't see as much Ryan Flournoy as I'd like to have seen. But yeah, I think that ultimately it came down to we just didn't have enough gas in the tank to get to 30 points because I had predicted we'd score more than 30 points. We didn't really get there. So my hat's off to the defense of Carolina there. They put up 30 points and it was all on the ground. I from a defensive point, as a Dallas Cowboy fan, I think that the whole, well, let's see if they can figure things out. And there's some injuries. And there's this. And there's that. There needs to be some kind of significant change in this. You and I've talked, and I'd love to hear your opinion on this, about do we think this is a personnel problem? Or do we think this is a coaching scheme problem? And I think we've had moments where we thought one and then moments where we thought the other. I'm still not completely convinced that Everfluss is not the linchpin challenge here. But I'll be interested to see what you think. What do you think, having watched this whole thing?
Well, it feels like either a schematic or a personnel problem, one or the other. Like it's not an individual thing. Some people would love to be like, your pass rush isn't good enough. I wonder what caused that. And I was like, yeah, for a while, that's one thing. But after having watched them for 6 games now, it's like, this is more than just not having an all-star edge rusher. Like this is, there are some weaknesses. It seems like you can commit to stopping one thing, the deep pass game or the run game. And you can be good at stopping one thing or the other, but if that team is versatile at all and can do either or, they're just going to pick the thing you're not going after, and they're going to play just fine. Now, you've had some games, a couple games this year, where you stopped their good thing, and you stopped, let's say their run game is solid, and their pass game is just not very good. So it wasn't enough to beat you. But if they are versatile at all, they can run or they can pass or just do whatever they want, then they are a problem for you. And yes, they kept you as one-dimensional as just about any team can be, except for maybe the Jets. And you have a quarterback that if you are one-dimensional, you still have a shot. Like, it's not like you got blown out by the Panthers like the Falcons did. If you look back, you went toe-to-toe with them for whatever that's worth, and it just came down to the end of a field goal. But yeah, it did seem like, as much as you could find things in the offense, it's like, man, if we could have had the run game going, but it feels like you're asking your offense, it's like, man, if you guys could just score 40, we'd win more games. I'm like, no, you're asking too much, guys. All right, come on. So your defense is definitely the focal point of, if you could fix one thing, that's the greatest difference you could make. If that's adding in a couple of different players, or if that's changing out defensive philosophies or defensive coordinators, is another question. I've got my own team to worry about changing out coaches, so I'm not really focused on you. But to be honest, I have heard Matt Eberflus' name mentioned a lot, and it is not usually with the absence of 4-letter words attached to it. So, I could see them being some changes coming up in the next couple of weeks if things don't change. I can't remember when your bye week is. I think maybe it's the same week as ours, which would be 2 weeks from now, week 8. So, we'll see if there's some big changes there. Could make some improvement, just because then other teams wouldn't have film on what you're doing. Like, they don't know, okay, well, this is Dallas's plan. So just for a little while, if nothing else, like when you play the Cardinals, great, you could have like an extra edge of unpredictability. So we'll see what they do. We'll see.
Part of what's frustrating, and you and I were talking about this earlier, is that, one could say, maybe a little tongue-in-cheek, but not much, that Dak Prescott is having a very Joe Burrows kind of year. Yeah. He's putting up really good numbers without his Jamar Chase, if you will, with CeeDee Lamb being out. And they're still putting up tons of offense. And at some point, CeeDee is going to come back, and he is going to add to that. But now, again, like you were saying, it's like it does have that feeling of, now we've got to score 40 points a game to compete. And of course, at that point, you're worried that if we score 40 points, does that just mean they're going to score 40 points in response? I don't know that we can stop them. So I agree. And I am looking, with all that being said, I'm very much looking forward to seeing him being back. I do wonder how that works out once he's back, as far as, sharing the ball. How does that work? I think George is probably really enjoying these 150, 160-yard reception games. Now, when you have to split that among CeeDee Lamb and Ferguson more, who knows how that'll turn out? I don't know. It's a good problem to have, I guess, on offense.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that is one I play corner.
I wish I had that problem. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know if there's word yet on CeeDee's status moving forward and when that is projected to be. It'll be nice when he's come back, because now that Dak and Pickens have had this like forced chemistry building time to try to get on the same page with everything. If they need to ease CeeDee back in a little bit, and it's like, hey, we're going to only target you probably 3 or 4 times this week, and that's fine, because you've got a guy who can put up 170 yards if he needs to. So, and then once they're both 100%, teams aren't going to know, like, who's their one this week? Not really sure. So that'll just give you more potential there. But again, it's higher potential on the wrong side of the ball. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what they do to solve it. Jerry Jones has his flaws and things that are frustrating and things like that. But an inactive person, other than the offseason, he's not usually. And so he will he'll go through with the scythe if he needs to. So I guess we'll just see from here on out. But all right, man. Unless you got anything else to add, let's wrap this up.
No, I'm good. Let's move on to the next game.
Yeah, the next game will be against Washington, which is a good test. Washington's doing some things well that are a little, I'd say 6 weeks in, we can safely say they're not exactly the team we thought they would be coming into the season, but they're not a bad team by any means.
No.
It should be a good matchup, a good test for both of you. So that'll be fun. But we'll get into that game more a little later this week. So a big thank you to everyone who's joined us. I'd say we had a lot of fun, but it's more like a comforting therapy session than a lot of fun right this very second. Right this very
True.
second. So I hope you'll join us again for some more therapy some other time. If you wouldn't mind giving us a like and a subscribe. We talk about Cowboys and Cardinal stuff and general NFL from here and there. And so we'll get into some more of it a little bit later on. So have a fantastic day and a great week.